Life is a journey, a winding road filled with challenges, uncertainty, and moments that test our strength. Welcome to The Way Home, a space where mind, body, and spirit come together in the pursuit of peace and purpose. The Way Home is more than a podcast. It's a path toward comfort, clarity, and connection. So wherever you are on your journey, take a deep breath, open your heart, and walk with us. This is The Way Home, presented by Plymouth Rock TV and Setting the Space.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here at the Setting the Space Plymouth Rock TV studios at the Kingston Collection, and this is The Way Home. Sharmin Wengender is here with me, and we're going to have our usual amazing conversation.
Yes.
We have a different set, a different look. We're trying all different things, right?
I know. I think this is really homey, and The Way Home is perfect.
And we didn't officially go by the whole public voting, but I was just like, you know what?
Well, we kind of did, to be fair. I mean, we both have a large network,
Yep.
and I think the feedback was kind of a resounding yes.
Okay, good.
Mostly, I think, because they knew the show before, but also I think it makes sense. People are trying to find their way home.
Yeah.
And people are a little lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we make sense together with that title.
I love it. And I brought up the notion of the near-death experiences where people would cite the homesickness of being like their spiritual home.
Yes.
Is that eternal place of just complete love.
And belonging.
Acceptance and belonging and
Yes.
all that. And although we're
Support
seeking a peaceful path here on this human experience, it still pales in comparison to what is to come in our next transition, because you don't want to say death.
Love that.
Yeah,
well, we're
going to
always
the
in
next
transition.
phase.
Anytime you're feeling lost, you are in transition, where the old you is gone and the new you may not have been born yet.
Right.
You're somewhere in between and you feel lost, but you're never really lost, because life is always guiding you. You're led through your situations or through the people that you meet, and you're always returning back to yourself with every new experience is part of that evolution, part of that journey home. And home isn't the end case, which is what we always have thought it to be. It's to the person you were always meant to be. And I hope our show is giving people little nuggets of information and wisdom and things that they can use after they listen, that they go home and try. I know already I'm getting so much feedback, and I'm super excited. We have a lot of watchers. Viewers? Watchers sounds bad.
Watchers is like from The Walking Dead. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
the walkers or whatever. We have a lot of zombies checking us out. Scary.
We have a lot of people that are viewing our show. And are you surprised or happy about this? Because I'm so thrilled.
I love it. I mean, again, this is what we do here, and
Right.
we want people to be engaged and be a part of the conversation and everything else. And I think The Way Home, going back to this, is appropriate. You have a Roomba at one at your house?
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes around, cleans up, and then what does it do? It goes back to its docking station and charges up and get its power. And I think that when I get into my funks, I tend to get away from that effort to go to that charging station, which would be source, and to be like taking time to meditate and just bask in the sun, or do a cold plunge where I'm just doing whatever I need to do to just sort of tap into that moment of
raising your frequency.
Yeah,
that's
and
recharging
getting your energy,
is
your
the
spiritual
perfect
energy. Right.
Yes, and that's what we're trying to do here. Give people ways to do that. Not everybody's going to cold plunge, but that's really awesome. That makes you feel so good. We come from pure love. We are made of pure love. And we just have to remember that feeling, kind of plug into that, get into that state of mind, and then give it to ourselves, because we forget to. And if it's cold plunging, great. But you can recharge in a lot of different ways. I mean, again, this is not woo-woo. This is real scientific facts that we are energy. And everything that we do either adds to or takes away from that energetic state. Hugging your pet can recharge you. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
we all have
course.
pets.
Yep.
Go wrap your arms around your pet after a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Hugging a human for 20 seconds or longer not only recharges you, but also you begin that healing process. So
just make sure the other human is in on it, right?
Don't let me go yet.
Them on the side of the road and
just a little longer.
I just got to hug you. I have to hug you right now, but I do exactly the point. Yep.
So that walking outside, nature recharges us. So we can go outside and we can cold plunge or walk or whatever, but nature recharges us. So just like plugging in your phone, we also need to be plugged in.
Yeah.
And or we feel depleted, and we know what that looks like, and we think like, oh, I'm depressed, and maybe you are, but this is one way to start to lift that vibrational state. And then of course you reach for that one good thought, and then your vibrational state increases, and then that leads to the next, positive action. This is a domino effect. And that first domino is self-reflection. We say it every week.
Yeah.
It is easy homework.
And I think you have to, you really have to take the dry erase board, erase it clean of everything you think you know, and realize we don't know a thing. And you have to be accepting of the infinite possibilities of amazing spiritual infinite realms that are there, because if we don't have that acknowledgement, it does sound really woo-woo. And it can get in the way of like the rat race of like, hey, you know what, I have to do this because everything, it's like if you're in junior high school and you have kids and a boy breaks up with you or something like that, that's your entire world. And you almost need, if you had the wisdom of the perspective of your entire life, you would never remember that, and you would never look at it as an important moment. But when you're focused in on you being the center of the universe and everything is happening to you, not for you or whatever, like you say, then it's hard to deal with things.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when you put your happiness, when you tether it to things outside of you, then your happiness is always conditional. We need to know that, again, if you come from pure love, if you are made of pure love, anything can go wrong, and then within you, you can still have peace, and you can have joy, and you can have gratitude, because it's always it's an inside job. Happiness is an inside job, right? So that boy can break up with you. Your life can implode. You can lose the job, and you can center yourself and ground yourself and realize, what is this preparing me for? What lessons have I learned? How can I maintain my vibrational state? And that you have to believe that what is meant for you will stay, will stick, and what is not will fall away. And we can white knuckle things, we can make things stick, but if they're not meant for us, why would we do that? Right? We really don't want the things or people that are not making us thrive or bloom. And the bloom is a word that I wanted to use today for a few reasons, and I don't know if I'll even get to all of them, but we are essentially all indoor plants with a soul. And we know so clearly how to take care of a plant, right? We make sure that it's in the sun. We make sure that the soil is good. We do all the things, and we know we move it if it's not thriving here or what have you. And we forget to do the same for us. And I just mentioned you can go outside to raise your vibration. If you're not blooming, if you're not thriving, blossoming in some way, and you're wondering, why am I stuck? And why isn't this happening for me? Are you getting enough sun? Go outside, freaking charge, right? Or check your soil. Are you rooted in the present moment, or are you always future tripping? And so that's a coaching term that I use, a lot of coaches use, where you aren't in the present moment and you're just constantly anticipating the future. And it's okay to have goals, and it's okay to reach and dream, but it requires, to be successful, that you're grounded in the present moment, that you're fully connected in that moment, because you only have this moment. So are you making use of your time right now with the people around you right now to be as successful as you can be? So check your roots. Are you grounded? Your environment. Sometimes, it's not doing good over here. You change it over here. What's your environment like? Also, what dominant thoughts do you have? Plants thrive when you speak nicely to it. This is scientific data that they have proven. Why would we be any different, right? They've actually talked to plants in a negative way and watched it decline. And poor little thing, but we wither and die too.
Sure.
Right?
And the plant analogy is perfect. It's one of the exact reasons we even thought about the metaphor concept, because number one, if you think of it, and it's not even that outrageous to think of a seed being a thought, right? And you plant a seed.
Of course it is. I love that.
And the seed is, you're not going to plant a peach pit and have an oak tree come from there. It's impossible, right?
That's
you
what
plant
I did wrong.
the seed, right?
Yeah.
And then it grows what it's supposed to grow. So the thought, you're not going to plant a seed of misery and then have happiness come from there.
That's excellent.
You have to have that be, you plant that seed. And so it is the way God speaks to us, is through the situations around us. And,
yes, God
you know,
uses people.
children and nature and,
Yes.
and other people to come to you and
Be either a teacher or be a guide or a supporter, but those people are intentionally chosen for you, divinely orchestrated. I believe that.
and the listening comes from really wiping away all the noise, the exterior noise that can come, because you might think God's not talking to you, but he's screaming at you. And it's coming at you from all the different noise that are around, and you've got to say, all right, I gotta be quiet, be still, find the simplicity and just observe, and then answers will start to come, I think.
100%. In stillness, we find answers.
Yeah.
That's so true. And sometimes we can get so determined on reaching our goal or making the thing happen that while God's screaming at us and making all the chaos happen, and we're still so stubborn, we're going to make it happen anyway. So there's a conversation, that self-reflection, that stillness that happens where you start to say, well, maybe there's another way. And you get these intuitive hits, like maybe I should send this email, reach out to that person. You get intuitive hits, and you have to learn to listen to that versus white knuckling it, like I'm going to make this happen despite all the signs that are here that I'm deciding to ignore. So it is easy, and you have support, but you made a great, excellent point. Is that even a thing? A great, excellent.
I'll take it.
It was that
There's a lot
good.
of positive.
But you said quiet the noise, okay?
Yeah.
And you talked about the noise outside. And I would take it one step further and say, you got to quiet the noise inside, because sometimes we are not so kind to ourselves, our own worst critics. You even said it to me today. I did that today, right? We hear ourselves, we catch ourselves, we got to do better. Because if the plant is going to decline from the way it's spoken to, it's not other people we're protecting ourselves. Sometimes we are the ones we have to protect ourselves from. So we have to look and really say, why do I think the seed of whatever, self-doubt, is going to create success? It could never.
It's so strange. Even you were talking about this stuff and how human beings were built, that we are the only creature. You're not going to get an owl or a squirrel who's just going to be hating on themselves and like thinking, oh man, the other squirrels just hate. You know, and like they don't think that they're not built that way.
Yeah.
And I think that I learn a lot from my dog. You know, my dogs, I have two, but like even they're ultimate in like love.
Yeah.
They're not judging me.
Yeah.
You know, they're not. I don't. If I'm gone too long and I come back, there's a funny thing. I heard this and I thought it was funny, and I said it to my wife.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say, because I've said it to my husband.
The dog in the trunk.
Oh no!
Have you heard this? They're
No.
like. So I said to my wife, I think that my dog loves me more than any human creature, or any creature on earth. And she's like, how do you say that? And then I heard this guy say, he's like, to prove that, throw your dog and your wife in the trunk of your car, and then come back at the end of the day and open up the trunk and see which one jumps in your arms and licks your face, you know, and doesn't punch you out. And it's a joke, obviously, but the dog will always come,
love you and be so forgiving.
you know,
so
and they
true.
come and they sit by your feet, and that's all they need. And they also, and this breaks my heart sometimes when you hear of like how a dog's 1 year, 7 years to a dog. So when you're gone for one day, it's like you've been gone a month.
Forever. Yeah.
You know, and so it breaks my heart when I come back and they're like so excited, and
You learn a lot
they can't
from
even get their
them.
feet.
They're
You know,
so happy.
Right, they are.
Love my
and so we
dogs,
learn from.
We do.
They don't have the judgment. I don't think. Maybe. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going through some deep psychological trauma. You
Your
know,
dog
and I
is
think
judging
dogs,
you.
animals do have trauma experiences. You know, rescue
Sure they do.
animals. You have to deal. You know,
Yep.
and it's their protective measure that we have as human beings. Like our bodies are created so that if fight and flight, if a puma is coming after us, we can be aware of it. But now it's not the puma, it's the negative thought of somebody at my office doesn't like me or approve of me, and then we create these
And what
violent
happens
scenarios
when the
in
fight
our
or
head.
flight, or what happens when we create that, we start to anticipate a battle. We're battling. You got to defend yourself. The world is not for you. And if you are going to battle, your body's like, all right, like the little minions within you, you know, it's like, let's go to battle, let's fight. And so your muscles tense up, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases. Nothing is running. Your brain can't function optimally because it's like this frenetic adrenaline and cortisol. But if we witness that thought, witness that self-talk, and change the station, like we talked about, that radio station, like, ooh, that's not good for me. I know what that's going to do to my body. Because your brain, again, it's just a computer, right? And you're giving it data. Whatever you tell your brain, it believes you. It's just like why when we watch a movie, your body thinks Freddy Krueger's coming after you. It doesn't know. That's why you feel the fear. So if you tell your brain everything's bad, right? Your brain is like, well, if everything's bad, we better defend ourselves immediately. And so this cascade of events happens within you, and you're in control of it. So as soon as you witness it, change the station, change the thought, say something that is very self-supporting and self-loving. I always say self-mastery is the way to life mastery. Fall in love with yourself. Have fun with that idea. Notice what you're doing and how it's adding or detracting from your life. Your thoughts are everything. Thoughts become things. And here's something. When people ask you how you're doing, say wonderful. How's your relationship? Fantastic. How's your job? I love it. Why? Because, again, where thoughts go, energy flows. What you think about, you bring about. If you're constantly focusing on the negative, constantly reiterating the problem, you're inadvertently drawing attention and energy more to that, and you're calling in and attracting more of the same. So it doesn't mean you personally should not address the things that are wrong in your life, but you don't need to share it with the world. We all know people that want to just tell you and dump on you about all the things that are wrong. Now, that's not the same as having a confidant. So we do need to share our stories with the people who love us and are supporting us. Maybe not all day long, every time you talk. Find a safe balance between I'm confiding and also I'm sharing my joys, because you don't want to ever be the person that's like the Debbie Downer, where all you ever do, right?
And you bring up an interesting dilemma, because you do need to be honest if you're having issues and not be completely phony, even in your self-delusion or something. Like when I've been in utter misery and walked into a store and I've looked in the mirror does it look like I was crying?
Yeah.
And then you see somebody, how was your day? Oh, how you doing? I'm great. And you would say it, and you would just
okay, but in that moment, it would feel so inauthentic for you to say great.
Right.
I get it.
And I think that happens for a lot of people. And it is the social norms of pleasantries that you have to sort of live by and go out and just be like, I got to interact with people.
Okay.
And I don't want others to be affected by my mood, but you just are going out in society. That's why we don't wear our pajamas in public, which I don't know why that trend is.
Yeah, the kids do now. High school, it's all
adults,
pajamas.
I'm seeing. They're walking around in pajama pants and stuff. Whatever. But
I love that point because you're right. Okay, so this is weaving really beautifully, because again, we were talking about energy. Authenticity is the highest, and a lot of people don't understand that, because we think first of all, a lot of people don't understand energy, but we know what love energy feels like. It feels so good. We know that. So reach for that. Authenticity is even higher, and why is that important? Because if we're not authentic, that means we're in a low frequency. And that means we're attracting situations and people that are not for our highest good. We're not going to thrive or blossom or bloom if we're not authentic.
Right.
So how do you handle that scenario when you're really suffering, you're really unhappy, someone says, how are you? You're like, I look like I've been crying. How do I say great and be believable? Maybe you don't. Maybe you say, I'm just so grateful the sun is shining, because that's real. You're being authentic.
Yep.
And that person receives something that they can also stay in their positive mindset.
And I like the idea too of, in that it's hard to be meditation, for one. Like when people always say the answer, be still, meditate, think about your thoughts, whatever. And a lot of times you hear people say, and I've said it, I can't meditate, which is ridiculous, because it's like saying I can't breathe. Like breathing might be labored, you don't think about it. Meditation is really just a fancy word, and I think the word might be loaded too, because people think of Buddha in a temple meditating to the point where they're having an out-of-body experience or what have you, and it really should be wiped away for the beginners.
I agree.
To say that it's just moments of silence, moments in quiet, appreciating without your distractions of the phone or even
Yes.
other people. And I've gone and I've had my spots where I go, and like all over town there might be trails.
I do too.
And if I pull in and there's cars there, I leave.
Yeah, because you're
it's
going for the
like-
stillness.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want the distraction of, even though I'm perfectly fine
Well, there's
meeting
times
other
for everything.
people,
There's
but-
times to connect, and there's
Right.
times for that stillness that you're falling in love with you. Like you're having this, like, what do I need?
Yeah.
And you can't do that with the noise from the outside.
Right.
Yeah. No,
And
I think
so,
that's smart.
And so I think that a lot of people will say, okay, Sharmin, easier said than done. It's meditating. I can't do it.
I don't tell
close
people
my
to
eyes
meditate.
and it's a war in my head
Yeah.
of thoughts and whatever. And
I'm so glad you brought this
what
up,
are
actually.
the tricks or what are the tools that people can do who are just starting?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. I'm so happy you asked me that. It's so simple, Chuck, and honestly, it's life changing. So, as you know, I was going to say an RN, which I am, but I was reaching for a yoga teacher. That is what I am.
That's a stretch. Oh,
Okay, that was funny.
thank you.
Yeah, so I, in my classes, used to say, the flow that we did, I used to teach vinyasa flow, and that was like, I loved it. It was great, but I think it was more important what I was saying and how we were breathing. And so I remember this one day. Well, the anecdote I'll come back to. Put a pin in the little story time. But your breath is the most important thing that you would ever get out of my class. It is the medicine for your soul. And even that seems elusive. Everyone's breathing. You're breathing right now. And do you feel better? Is that meditating? There's a way to breathe that is transformative. And I'm going to talk to you guys about it right now because, again, we want nuggets for people to go home and say in real time, I need to try this right now. Your breath literally is the most important thing because if you do it correctly, you can reset your entire central nervous system in 3 to 5 breaths. So you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, and you want to get that stillness. Well, your brain and your breath are intertwined like this, okay? So they cannot come undone. They never operate independently. So always picture this when you're feeling anxious or when you're feeling like you might need to find some stillness. Reach for your breath because your brain, again, is just a computer. And it often uses, or most often uses, the cue of your breath to determine how the body needs to respond. And when you're in a chaotic moment and when you're feeling nervous or anxious, your breath is more shallow. And when you breathe like that, your breath is more carbon dioxide. Okay? You're maintaining more carbon dioxide in your body, less oxygen. Okay? Now, mindfully change the way you breathe because you chose to. And so my cue will be exhale for twice as long. I don't care how long you inhale, but make sure your exhale is for twice as long. So in for 2, out for 4, or 3 to 6, whatever works for you, find a flow that's natural. Do that 3 to 5 breaths, and you have reset your entire central nervous system. It is like an Etch-a-Sketch. It's clear, all with breath alone.
I heard the box breathing too, similar to that.
It's a similar
The
technique.
Navy SEALs would do that as a technique
it's very
to
similar.
handle pressure situations. You breathe in, then you breathe out, and then you have nothing. You hold.
Pauses.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have nothing in you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And
So
then
I
you
love
do
that, and it so works. And there's a beautiful catalog of breaths that you can choose, and they all have different benefits for our body. But I think simplicity rules the day because it's so easy to just go exhale longer. And when you do that, you reset your brain because your brain notices this beautiful slow exhale, and your brain says, "Wait, because it's just a computer. We're relaxed." And all of a sudden, it calls off all the army. We are not in battle. You have nothing to defend. Really? So it then elicits your relaxation response, which it softens your muscles. It slows down your blood pressure. It slows down your heart rate. And suddenly you have that stillness because you have all this oxygen in your brain. So you're in stillness, you find answers. And then finally, the most important benefit that I believe, especially as a nurse, is that when you breathe this way, inside of you, you have an oxygen-rich environment, right? Because you're getting rid of twice as much carbon dioxide. So in doing that, all of a sudden, you are warding off disease because disease cannot live in an oxygen-rich environment. Studies have shown people with more of the oxygen-rich blood, disease does not thrive. So now you've eliminated anxiety, you have stillness, you have no disease, you have peace, and you have fallen in love with yourself because you feel empowered and in control of your body. It's just a breath.
Yeah, and if we think of it this way too, because again, I'm going to this foundational, rooted position of like we're spiritual beings in,
Right.
in human, having a human experience, right? So we're in these suits, meat suits, whatever, and if we were to go underwater, we would need the mask, scuba gear, breathing apparatus, fins. We would need a whole set of accommodations for us to handle that environment.
Of course.
So those items that we add to our system aren't who we are. So we're put here, and our spirits are inside our being, and maybe there's that conversation of like our pineal gland.
Oh,
So-
yes.
So I'll
Yeah,
get back to it.
so we'll
the
just, yes, pineal gland.
right? So
Yes.
that's in us, which we don't know enough about our bodies and
We
why
know
we're even
so
here.
little, right.
And the pineal gland could be basically our radio frequency to the other realm, right? So we don't know what it does, and we don't know the power. We've limited it, and we're in these suits that we have so much attachment to,
And
in
gear
terms
that
of
we
how
don't
look and-
understand.
right.
Yeah.
And so here we are, just in these bodies,
And it's
like,
clumsy, and it's weird. Yeah.
And when
yeah.
I hate to be a nut job talking about the near-death experiences, but people will say when they're free of their bodies that they are just explosions of energy
Well,
everywhere,
yes.
and they are so free and so open and wide and 360-degree angles
Again,
and looks.
you come from pure love. You are made of pure love. We forget. We're so encumbered by the
Hence the
situations
sign.
and the.
I brought the sign. The
Which
love
one?
Sign. The love.
Oh, right. We're made
Yeah,
of
right,
love.
right.
See? Yes. So I feel like, yes, I love the visual of that, because that's, in essence, we forget who we are. And this journey is kind of about remembering.
Yep.
And like I said in the beginning, returning to who you were meant to be. It's how you came into the world. And then somehow we don't think that we deserve to be happy or whatever, but happiness is your birthright. And you just have to get really clear that there is this divine purpose with your existence. And you are perfect in this moment as exactly the way you are. And everything you need to achieve whatever dream you have is also within you right now. And so you're not really stuck and you're not really lost. And I think when we start to understand that, it's the liberation we all need, if you believe it. Otherwise, you start blaming people around you, and you start, oh, I'm not old enough, I'm not smart enough, it's got to be somebody else. And you're everything you're supposed to be, and you have to start really taking action on your own happiness, whatever that looks like. I spoke with a friend this morning, and she was talking about her relationship. And again, who doesn't have relationship issues sometimes? Because there's relationships in your entire life, whether it's personal or whether it's your career. The dynamics in that exchange can interfere, or at least you can blame them for interfering with your path. But honestly, you're the only one that can make the moves that propel you forward, and you are the one holding yourself back.
That's a good spot for us to take a little bit of a break and come back.
Yeah.
So we will do that, and hang with us, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ray Bork, and life is great New England.
I'm Doug Flutie, and life is great New England.
I'm Allie Raisman, and life is great New England.
Hi, I'm Derek Sanderson, and life is great in New England.
You know, you can also check the show on all of the major streaming platforms on the Plymouth Rock TV channel. Get hip with it.
This is Plymouth Rock TV. Go on your smartphone, download Plymouth Rock TV. You guys can watch this probably right after the show. You can also watch all the other motorsports events that have taken place here at the Marshfield Fair. And again, they'll be here tomorrow. That's Plymouth Rock TV.
Well, I really appreciate it. Plymouth Rock TV has been great. You all have been great supporters of. You advertise us, you go above and beyond every time.
Plymouth Rock TV is behind you, Kiwanis, in Marshfield 100%.
This show, the Sunday Storyteller series, is now part of Plymouth Rock TV and will be broadcast on Roku. So if you have a Roku, you can download or get the Plymouth Rock TV channel, and then you can look for this show. I'm so excited to do it. It is going to bring us into a lot more homes. Everybody right now, do me a favor and share the show. If everybody that's watching shares the show, we're going to have more of a fan base watching, which is only going to help the artists that we bring on the show.
As I can tell you from just recent experience as a small business owner, the most costly aspect of running a business is the marketing. We've seen the huge benefit of the new streaming platforms that are coming out, and our ability to partner with Plymouth Rock TV, I think is going to reach people here in the New England market that we want to reach, that are looking for cool and different things to be doing out here all around New England. Our partnership with Plymouth Rock TV is really going to help us reach that demographics of local people that want to get out and do fun, exciting things. I'm really excited about this opportunity.
When we're in Florida, we are watching Plymouth Rock TV and the Red Sox. Woo! Go Red Sox!
Yeah.
Plymouth Rock TV!
And those guys are on the property. Big thanks to them. They came all the way out to put on a show and have some fun with us today here at Wengender Dragway. And you can check that out on Plymouth Rock TV, recording the racing here today. You can find Plymouth Rock TV or Roku, along with Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Distro TV. You can actually check them out for coverage here at the track. You can get it right now, actually, right on your iPhone or Android. All you got to do is go to your app store and look for Plymouth Rock TV on your app store and download the app, and you can check it out there. But also getting it out and getting the word out for Wengender Dragway. Plymouth Rock TV is worldwide. Big thanks to them for being here as well.
We got a lot going on in this town, and one thing you did mention is Plymouth Rock TV, which in my mind is the highlight of tonight. But actually coming down here and filming it, and you can check them out. They do everything local.
Being a small business, especially nowadays, is tough. So I was so fortunate to be introduced to Chuck from Plymouth Rock TV, who's just been awesome at helping me get the word out there of who we are, where we are, what we do. Plymouth Rock touches so